What's going on, people? Welcome to the Snake Room. We are live. It's taken some time, but we're finally here. Just checking. Can everyone hear me? Everyone, we good? Drop a message, comment. Yay. What's up, people in the comments? It was worth it straight away. All these people in the comments, I was expecting like 2. So we're good. We're good. So yeah, welcome to the Snake Room. I'll be getting guests on each week, talking about the passion we all share: ball pythons, reptiles. Let's just see who's in the comments. A podcast veteran of 4 shows, but still a superstar. SRS Sam, how you doing? Who else we got? Alice Charles, Andy Barton. What's going on, people? Hope you stick around. So before I get into anything, I'm going to do a quick sticker shout out. Hang on. So just 2 lots of stickers quickly. Big shout out to Banana Bread Royals. Thanks for them. And then M&B Reptiles as well. Anyone wants a sticker swap, drop me a DM, Instagram. I've got loads here. We can sort something out. So also, please like and subscribe. Share this, take a picture, put it on your stories on Instagram. Get lots of people in here. Also, on that, I'm going to do a giveaway. So I need 1,000 followers on Instagram and then 250 on YouTube. Once I've got that, I'm going to do a giveaway some merch, some hoodies, t-shirts, trying to get hats sorted out as well. So once I reach that number, we'll have a giveaway, and that will be all good. Also, any questions for our guests tonight, just drop them in the comments. I'll try and pick them up as we go along. So yeah, I think we're ready to get our guest on. Hope I say this right. On the first very episode of the Snake Room, we welcome James from Dragwin.
Hey.
Hello, mate.
Yeah. How's it going?
Yeah, good.
Good. Yeah, the name's not been butchered too badly.
Yeah.
Stupid name. I thought it sounded cool. I used it as my brand, and then nobody can say it. And in a bit of a twisted way, people now know it as me, but nobody can still pronounce it. But Dragwin is pretty damn close. It's supposed to be white dragon in Welsh, and its literal translation is Dragwin is white dragon. But after sorting it all out, I found that in Welsh there's hard and soft mutations on the words. Dragwin is not technically correct, so it's all round. It's a winner as probably the worst name choice ever.
Yeah, people know it as you because Billy and Austin and whatnot love wearing your shirts and.
Oh yeah, well,
it seems
quality all the time, isn't it? That's what it is.
You get a lot of plugs on there.
Yeah, and unlike certain people that may or may not have complained about certain topics this week, I don't pay for those plugs to be on there.
No.
not mention any names.
So I've got a funny story about people have been asking me this week who's on. And I'm trying to do the name, right? I'm trying to give them the name. Yeah. And I thought I was getting good at it. So I tried to put the Welsh twang on there. And it just sounded like I was from Transylvania.
Dragwin.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I can't do accents.
Nice.
Anyway, how's your season? Have you started yet? Or
yeah, so... In one way, the breeding season's off to a great start. In another way, I've dropped the ball python, if you like. So what I did last year and what I sort of like advocate doing is don't like breed everything, like pair everything all at once, because you've got to find room for everything. And so what I did is, come November, I started pairing all my females, and it's not many, you know, it's a reasonable small collection.
Yeah,
but I've got about 10 females that are all on almost the same cycle, give or take a week. And so they've all just finished their pre-ovulation sheds. They're all bowl wrapping, and I'm like, great. So last year I averaged 8 eggs from each of these females. Some of them had 9. Some of them had a few more, but I slugged out a couple. And I've got 60 hatchling racks. So if you do the maths on that, it doesn't quite fit. So I've got to try and find somewhere in here to put some more hatchling racks. But yeah, it's looking good. The females that I've got, most of them are particularly quite big females. You know, they're 2.5 kilos upwards. I think my biggest is probably about 4 kilos. Not huge in terms of royals, but still hefty. And then I've got one that's it's her first year entirely, and I've got one that is a first year for me, because I bought her early last year, and she came from a guy who bred her. I personally felt she was a bit small to be breeding, so I and grown her up a bit, and now she's to weight, and looks chunky enough to deal with the harshness of breeding and going off food and all that for a couple of months. I've given her a go, so it's all good.
What weight do you feel is adequate for like a male or a female?
So a female, I've been sort of waiting until the industry standard of 1,700 grams, but I'll also look at them and sort of think, does she look healthy enough? Because this female that I was just talking about, she was 1,400 grams when I got her, but very, very skinny 1,400 grams. Yeah. So she's well over 1,700 now, but she's put a bit of chub on. So she's a bit of a thick girl now. So I'm like, I'm happy that she can sustain eggs and go off food for a while. And I don't want to be too strict about it's got to be exactly this way and exactly this age. You know, they're ready when they're ready. So last year, my Enchi Pastel Possible Orange Stream, I paired him, and he was around 600 grams, but he was ready and raring to go. When I took him out to handle him, he was straight at the boxes the females were in. So I was like, well, I'll give him a go. And for his first year, he sired, I think, 2 clutches. And he's been a machine this year as well. I think he's done 4 clutches this year, or 5 clutches. And yeah, we're not talking hundreds of pairs for my setup, but he's done really well. But then this year I've got 2 visual clowns. I've got a leopard pastel. Oh, I don't know what my webcam was doing there. I've got a leopard pastel clown and a firefly clown. And the leopard pastel is up to weight, but he's just not interested at all.
He's not what he's doing yet.
No, I put him in the tubs with the females, and I'm a little bit concerned maybe he's a kiss and cuddler. He doesn't want to get down and do it. He's making all the right noises and things, but I think when he gets right up to actually doing it, he chickens out a little bit. But the firefly clown, who is a little bit lighter than him, put him in, and he was on it within about 5 minutes of being in the tub. So yeah,
when that happens.
Yeah, so luckily I had him as a backup, because this is sort of my start to my clown projects.
Is that your main recessive?
I'm focusing on 2 recessives at the moment, which is Ultramel and Clown. And what I want to do is I want to bring those together. And like I've discussed with you before, I don't tend to really have secret projects. If you want to know what I'm doing, I'll tell you. There are people ahead of me. There are people behind me. I don't care. I'm doing what I want to do. So I'm looking for Ultramel clowns. I've got a possibility of hitting Het Red Xanthic Lemon Pastel Het Ultramels this year. So I want to try and get that into Ultramel Clown, because I think the darkness of the Het Red Xanthic will just be will look really cool with the Ultramel, because you'll get those pinks and creams and things coming in. And like my female visual Ultramel's Ultramel Fire, and she's a really nice sort of pinky color. The darks aren't that dark, so I think that would look really really cool as in those combos. That's sort of like one of my targets for maybe not next year, maybe the year after, maybe the year after that. So you're still looking 4 years down the line and going, that's one of the targets I want to hit.
But that's what this hobby is about. You always you're never concentrating on this season. It's always after.
Yeah. I've been talking to a couple of non-snake friends when I bought some of the females last year. And they're like, all right, what are you going to do with that? I was like, well, I'm going to grow it up and then I'll breed it to this, which will give me this. I'll breed it to that, which will give me this. And then I can breed them to these. And I'm set. And then I got to the end of it. I'm looking at about in 10 years' time that I'll hit this. And they're like, 10 years? I'm like, well, that's worst case scenario, because there's nothing to say that they're definitely going to breed at 2 years or 3 years old. There's nothing to say that I'm going to hit that combo every time. Oh, all right. Oh, that's a bit boring. It's like, no, that's what keeps the interest in it. And like, people have said to me, like with the Ultramel Clown, well, why haven't you gone out and just bought Clown Het Ultramels and Ultramels Het Clowns? Like, because half of the interest for me is to build that up. I'm not in this for the race. I don't want to be the first one to do it, because I'm never going to be. I've only got like 50 odd snakes. I'm never going to be the first at any of this. So, and I find the genetic side of it really interesting. It's what really drives me. Before keeping snakes and that, I was keeping tropical fish and breeding tropical fish, all sorts. I've bred hundreds of species. I had 200 fish tanks in this room, 200 fish tanks somewhere else. I introduced new colour morphs, and that's the market in certain species. So they're a lot more work. With my own business, with my young family, I just didn't have the time to maintain the fish tanks. My hobby became water changes.
So let's go back then. How did you have reptiles before you had fish at all?
No. So I can give you the long story if you like, how it all started.
So you started with fish.
Yeah, well, I don't know if there's a website called iwantoneofthose.com. I believe it's still around. You can go on there and buy stuff like fighter jets and all sorts of random stuff.
I was about to say, that sounds like a proper old website.
Yeah.
Like iwantthat.com, friendsreunited.com.
Yeah, it's about that era.
Yeah.
Dating myself a little bit. But I bought triops, which are a small crustacean thing that haven't really evolved much since prehistoric times. If you think about a horseshoe crab, if you know what one of those looks like, it's like that, but smaller. It's a shrimp. I bought those and did some research, and the tub that they came in wasn't big enough, so I bought a fish tank. And then bought 1 million fish and go, the tank's not big enough. Eventually, that one tank in my bedroom, when I lived at home, grew to 7 in the bedroom, some downstairs in the front room. My parents went absolutely nuts. When I finally moved out, I then had hundreds of tanks and breeding all sorts. But during that time, because this was heated, I was like, oh, yeah, I've got an interest in snakes. I've never kept one. My parents would have never let me keep them when I was at home. So I picked up a couple of snakes, a couple of royals off of Pre-Loved, and they were supposed to be het piebald, but I didn't really know much about them. I had a few of the nerd books, excuse me, and I'd done all my research on them, got them, kept them for probably a year or two, but then things really kicked off with the fish, and that sort of hobby and business grew. So I sold them on, and that was probably
never bred them.
No, I did never get around to breeding them, but I sold them on, and that was probably 11, 12 years ago now, something like that.
Were they hatchlings when you bought the supposedly het
No,
pieds?
they were sub-adults. They were sub-adults. And so I'd look at them and didn't really know what I was looking for in markers. There wasn't that much information around or that much freely available like we've got now.
Yeah.
So I was looking at them going, they don't look like normals. And like even when I go back and I look at the videos, like on my YouTube channel, my personal one, not my Dragwin one, I've got videos of them, and they're very, very yellow. They're not quite pastel, but they're not. Right. And I look at them now and go, they're not. They weren't het piebald. Not a chance in hell they were. Or if they were, they just weren't displaying any of the ringers. But and now I know.
Sam's asked if you can see the comments.
If I can, no. I did have my phone on looking at it. I can't quite see them.
Is there not an option down on your screen or something?
Let me have a look. Private chat. Oh, comments. Yes, I can see them now. Very good.
Yeah. Sam's got a real serious question.
Ask him if he's ever punched a snake on the nose. So what Sam's doing here is he's covertly trying to get a plug for his podcasting. So I've helped Sam with a lot of the technical stuff and that on podcasting, because I do host 2 software podcasts. And on the trial one, we had a couple of hours, myself, Sam, and EE Pythons. And we were talking about random stuff. And I think it came up in the conversation about what you do if a snake bites you. And I was like, you just punch it. That teach you a lesson, won't it?
I see.
It's one of those you got to be there sort of thing. But
right,
okay. Trying to get a plug for his, so I won't mention his.
No, we can mention it. But go back. So you had these.
So I had these 2.
You got rid of them because the fish were taken off.
Yeah, through a few bad business decisions and stuff, that business slowed down, and then I went back to just being a hobby keeper. But then I started my own business, and
so
the kids came along.
Were the fish a hobby or a living?
They were a hobby, but I don't do anything by halves, so it's like an all or nothing. So it got to the point where I was breeding that many of them, I had to get a pet shop license. So this place was fully insured, fully pet shop licensed, and everything. And I started importing as well as breeding. Had 2 locations similar size to this, and would quarantine everything down in the other facility. I say facility, it's my garage converted, and the other one was a mate's garage converted. And the issue you get with a lot of the fish keeping stuff is that the wholesalers or a lot of shops will import stuff and just sell it straight away. So you often end up getting diseases in. What we would do is everything would be quarantined for at least a week, up to 6 or 12 months, depending on how bad it was when it came in. So when we sold fish, we knew that it wasn't our fish that was the problem. There was an issue with your tank. So it was easier for us to help the customers if they had issues. And most people that didn't have issues were really happy and really loved the quality of the fish. Cool. But we had a live import coming from South America, and there was some disease in it, and we couldn't locate what it was. We had the fish under microscopes because the guy that was doing with it had a degree in microbiology, and we couldn't find anything. But the weird thing is we had nets for all the different tanks that were washed and disinfected, never used between each tank. And this infection spread between the tanks and wiped everything out. And because it was a hobby thing, it was run on the side, it wiped out probably $6,000 worth of wholesale. And that's probably about 30-40 grand worth of retail on some of those, because there was some really rare stuff. There was some of my own personal collection down there that was really rare and lost all that. And then we had a few other hiccups after that with marine fish, and it was just like, right, it's not working out. So I took it back to being a hobby. But we'd started a business, and then the kids came along. My hobby became water changes, and I wasn't really paying attention to the fish. I wasn't breeding them, and I had some fish that I was probably the only person in the UK with them, and it just wasn't right for me to keep them. I needed to give them to somebody who could sort of move them out. And then I shut everything down, focused on my business. But I got that itch. It was depressing when I came out here. For 10 years, I came out here and it was noisy. There was water bubbling. There was something to look at, and it was depressing. And I thought, you know what? I'll get a couple of snakes, because I really enjoyed them. I like that side of it. You know, they've got some fun genetics that are being discovered constantly, and I started learning some more about it. And I've been back 3 years now, so I'm still really new. So you'll notice that any of the content I put out is not educational content. It's just
so this was 2018. You decided to get back into
yeah. So I picked up a pair of Mojaves.
Okay.
And they've been kept in a viv together in the shop, and the female was gravid. So without any of the hard work, I ended up with eggs. But apparently they've been kept together by the previous owner because they bought a collection of somebody. I don't know how true that is. I don't know.
Right. So
they were definitely together in the shop, and I went in several times over a couple of months, and they were just staring at me, and I'm like, yeah. And so got some eggs off them, hatched them, and that changed everything then for me, because I got that buzz again that I got from breeding the fish and all that sort of stuff. So I get that real interest out of the genetic side of keeping the snakes. And also the wife absolutely hates them, so she doesn't come out here. So this is definitely like my area now. The kids come out here, and the kids love handling them, but she stays away. So it's my respite.
The kids can come out here now. Do you want to tell the story about the wolves?
About the wolves?
The wolves.
Oh, the wolves. Yeah. So some people listening and watching may know about the wolves, but as you can see over here, it's all foil lined. I've built some DIY racks, which are these ones here, these black ones. And for those that you don't know, heat mats give off a residual charge. On their own, that's not much of an issue. And even on your professional racks, you're probably going to rush out now, get your multimeters if you've got one, and test your racks to see if they're live. And what happened was that I taped the heat mats down in place. And to make it look nice and neat, I ran the silver tape all the way up to the posts that you can see. If I do that there, so I know this is only going to work on the video one, but I've got 10 mil threaded bar that's holding the shelves in place. So it all connected to that, and there's 9 shelves there with heat mats on, 20-watt heat mats. And I was sorting the first one out, and I got a buzz out of the wall. And I was like, "Oh, that's it. That's weird. Maybe it's because it's some sort of Faraday cage, and it's collected residual charge, and it was just static." Didn't think anything of it. Brushed my hand against the rack on the bar, got the same shock. I didn't own a multimeter at that point, so I bought one, and I put the multimeter not on the bars, on the insulation on the wall. And the thing starts screaming at me live, 250 volts in the wall, and I'm like, oh, that's, and I'm touching it, and like it came up the wall, across the ceiling, down the other side. The whole thing would become live. So I had to earth that rack. I drilled a 4-foot hole, dropped a metal bar down with a wire on, and earthed it, and then I've cut the tape from around the bars. So why I say that it's an issue with some of the professional racks is I've seen some of the professional racks, people put mats on and then put the silver tape touching the metal. You've just created a circuit there as well. And what was really hard about it is that I would test it and it go live, and then I test it again, it go nothing. Okay. Well, I test somewhere else, it go live, and I'm like, well, how's it live up here? So I go back down to where I just tested it, said it wasn't, and it was live again. And I realized because the stat was turning it on and off. Yeah, it was flicking it on and off. So I had to ban the kids from coming out here for probably about 2 weeks till I worked out what it was. I sort of like summarized it like I really knew what I was doing and sorted it out straight away. But no, I was on to loads of people saying, what's going on? Has anybody had this? And I was like, no idea. And it, yeah. So I made a live circuit. It's not the first time I've electrocuted myself like that. I do it quite often. I was changing the light switch for in here. I wanted to put an Alexa light switch on.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
She didn't hear that. I've got one of those devices here, so I could turn the main room light on and off on a schedule. And I went to because this is on its own RCD. It's got its own connection to the mains, and I thought, yeah, that one's these lights. Turned it off. Fantastic, lights have all gone off. And I started taking the light switch apart, got the live wires, putting the new light switch in. Oh, dragged my finger against one of the cables. Oh, that was a bit of a shock. That hurt. Oh, that's the live cable, and that one's still on. I didn't realize the electrician that did it all had put a circuit in here and a circuit out there. So there's a door here. Behind all that chip stuff.
Yeah.
And so the light switch out there controls the light out in the front of the garage and in the loft, whereas that light switch was on a different circuit, was for in here. So yeah, I electrocuted myself again then. So I'm definitely DIY savvy and safe. 100%.
Yeah, sounds it.
Yeah.
So go back to the snakes. You had 2 Mojaves that gave you eggs.
Yeah. So my first season.
How many eggs?
Yeah, was it? 7. So I got 7 in my first season.
So I'm guessing you had no incubator or anything set up.
Well, because I done my research and I knew the signs coming from the female. I was like, she's going to be gravid.
Yeah.
So I did the professional thing, and I ran out and I bought an Exoterra incubator, and everybody went, no, it's rubbish. It'll not work. It'll kill your eggs. I was like, shut up, it'll be fine. Didn't realize how big the eggs were actually going to be. So ended up putting them in there in a rub. I had 7 eggs. Didn't really know what I was looking for on the veins and stuff, but they looked okay. I showed people pictures and they looked okay.
Yeah.
I think one of the big issues was I checked them every 5 minutes of every day. Keep taking them out, checking them, putting them back, keep them out, check. And the issue with those is that, especially with the rubs, they don't hold the humidity at all.
No.
So I think they got dehydrated. I ended up hatching 3 snakes. And what I really wanted was most people's first sort of request when they start breeding stuff is a bell. And I wanted a super Mojave.
Guilty.
Yeah. And as I said, don't do anything by halves. So I was like, I've seen all these people on YouTube cut eggs. I can do that. So I decided to cut them as well. So they got to term, and I was like, I'm going to cut them. So I got my friend on video chat, and she's really into her reptiles, breeds turtles and all that sort of stuff. I said, I'm going to cut them. Cut the first egg, super Mojave. I was dancing around like a kid at Christmas. Cut the second egg, another super Mojave. And I thought, this is 1 in 4. I got 3 eggs and hit 2. Oh, awesome. Did the next one and it was a Mojave. So dodged the odds on the normals. The Mojave went to the friend that was on the video call eventually, and the supers were a male and female. So I did what any forward-thinking reptile keeper does. Sold the 2 snakes that I really wanted. I sold them to a local local reptile shop, and I exchanged them for a butter pinstripe het clown female, who is breeding for me the first time this year.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so and then after I did that, I showed it to someone I'd met, and they went, "Ah, you idiot! That's my snake. I've got another one here. You can run it cheaper." So your
breeding career was off to a flyer.
Yeah, and then I was like, right, last year I was like, I want to get a bell, because I did that the first time. If you go to my website and this logo, it's all based on that first snake I hatched.
Okay.
And I was like, I've sold my sort of like mascot snake, so I want to make another one. So I did the same pairing, Mojave to Mojave, last year, and she reabsorbed on me. She was one of 2 girls to reabsorb, so that's not happened. So I paired them again this year, and it looks like she's gonna go. She's going through all the right signals.
Okay, so you still got the original snakes?
Yeah, I've still got the original 2.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And they're doing all right. And I've actually got 3 Mojave, straight Mojaves. I've got two Mojave girls and a Mojave male. So yeah, a lot of my stuff has Mojave in it, and because it was like my introduction into the more serious keeping and serious breeding side. I think everything is going to have Mojave in it. It's going to be like one of my go-to morphs. I really like it as well as a morph
in your collection.
Yeah.
Cool. So that was 2018 that you had the 2 Mojaves.
Yeah, so it would have been sort of late 2018 that I got them, and they had eggs in 2019. Yeah,
I see. So moving on from them 2, I mean, how quick did you escalate to get sort of?
Well, I know I said it's go hard or go home. You know, what I did is I quite steadily built up to probably about 30 snakes. In about, I don't know, 3 months, something like that. yeah. On Morph Market, went buy. Right, where am I going to put all these? Yeah, so probably in the next 6 months after hatching those snakes, my collection started to grow, and the wife at that time, because there was only 1 or 2 out here, would come out and she go, "You've got another one?" And I'm like, yeah, it's fine, yeah. Have you bought another one? No, I've had that one for ages.
It's the same one.
Yeah. It's amazing how many snakes you can get for £100. So it sort of grew from there, and I did a lot of the things that many newbies do is rush out and just go, I'll have that, and I'll have that, and I'll have that, and I'll have that.
Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah. And I've done all right. I'd say that the snakes that I've got have all been good quality snakes. There's nothing that's terrible. I've not really had any health issues or anything like that. So I've been okay like that. Yeah, I had mites. Everybody gets mites. It's one of those things, and cleared all that up, and that's good. But now I've got so much bell complex, it's unbelievable. So I've got Mojave, I've got Lesser. I did have Lesser. I've got Butter. I've got a Phantom, an Opal Diamond, so Phantom Russo. I've now got Chino as well, and I'm like, yeah, this is going to make it hard in the future to start putting other things together. So my plan is to try and breed out the Butter, try and sort of breed out Phantom and Russo. And I'm going to concentrate on Mojave and Chino. One, because I really like Mojave, and Chino is a new bell complex that not many people are working with. And I picked a male up not that long ago from Connie's Recessive Balls, I think, or she has been playing with a name, so I don't know if it is still Recessive Balls or just Connie's Royals or something like that now. I got that from her. Yeah. And he's a really nice snake. So that'll be interesting going forward to see how that reacts with some of the other genes. But it's going to be a long process to get rid of some of those other things.
Slowly shipping them out.
Yeah, and not to bring his name into it again, but Sam really enjoys a lot of the snakes I've got, because almost everything, or a lot of the hatchlings I had last season ended up with pinstriping.
How did I know you were going to say
that? Yeah.
Sam and pinstripe go hand in hand.
Yeah,
pretty sure. Yeah.
And because the last clutch of last year, I think I had 8 snakes, and 6 of the 8 were a pinstripe combo. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to try and thin that out a little bit. I've still got some. I like it, but on its own, I don't really rate it. In some of the combos, it's really nice. I made a Civet last year, which is a Leopard Mojave pinstripe, and from what I've seen online, not many people have got them. I've seen there's one picture on World of Ball Pythons, and when you search online, the other pictures that come up tend to be that same snake. But yeah. So she's going in. I think she's going into shed at the moment.
Typical.
Because of she's only just, so it's only a bit of a tint to her, and the lighting in here is not very good with this webcam. But she, with the pinstripe and that, she looks very similar to a blackhead pinstripe, and about 3 or 4 other combos that I've seen sort of pop up, and I'm like, yeah, this is 3 genes, and I could have achieved the same outcome with 2. But she's really nice. She's she's growing like a weed,
Yeah.
and I don't know what I'm actually going to do with her. I've got no idea what project she's going to go into or where I'm going to take her. But she was from the first clutch of last year, and that combo was the first one I'd sort of gone through listening up. That's the one I want. So so it was quite nice to hit that. The leopard that's in is reasonably nice as well. It's quite a silky dark color that comes out because her sister is a leopard Mojave.
I mean, it's not too bad when you have a snake in your collection and you don't know what to do with it. That's female. I mean, if it's male, I mean, the exit door's over there. So if you've got no plans for it, then it's not sticking around.
Yeah, so let's try. So you can see her compared to that. They're very different, and the only difference in those is that this one has got pinstripe in it. Yeah. But how different that those patterns are.
It breaks it up.
Yeah, it is nuts. But like you say, when you've got a male that you don't know what to do with, that makes it a lot harder. So I've got a pinstripe super stripe male that I produced, and I wanted just a super stripe. I didn't want the pinstripe in there. And because he's male, I'm just like, well, yeah, he can move on. But the longer he's here, the more impressive his colours are getting. It's going to be harder to let him go. Yeah. If you wanted to see that, go and have a look on Instagram. Because if I get him out on here, he looks like a really washed out, pale, sort of like beige colour, but he's a really intense yellow. And the colours from the camera on my phone and the video camera and stuff are so much better for it. So
So talk about getting rid of snakes. Have you actually got any space left in there, or are you pretty much at capacity?
Yeah, so I've got this black rack, that's got 2 left at the top, and then I've got another rack the same the other side of it that's empty.
Okay.
So 3. Yeah, I've got 3 empty here, and there's 2 on this side. But I've actually got snakes for sale in these tubs. So there is room. These black racks will be being dismantled soon. I'm in the process of so if you can see up there, I've got a couple of FB70s that have turned up.
Yes.
They're for a bit of an experiment because I can't get the racks that I want. I wanted FB70 ALU rack to go in there, but there's some issues. There's some issues with getting them into the country because of Brexit.
Oh, okay.
And because I'm impatient, I'm going to make my own or attempt it.
Right.
So so we're going to see how that goes. So I've got 4 tubs, and I'm going to build a small 4 tub rack to start with, and I'm going to build it up from there. If it works for those, I'll build the rest of it.
On the alley racks, I've actually got alley racks, and I ordered another section a couple of weeks ago, and I got an email today saying it had been sent out.
Oh, right. Okay.
So.
All right. Okay. I might have to contact them again because I've been hounding them for weeks.
I've heard different stories about him. I was quite surprised that I got the email today saying that it's dispatched. So I was like, okay.
Well, when they get to the border, and they say, "Can I have an extra $6,000? Can we have another quick live where I can laugh?" Phil's asking there where I got the FBs from. I got them from Mills at what?
Is it Pipe and Pit or something like that?
Pit Pipe, yeah. My mind's gone. Bear with me. Reptile Pit.
That's it.
Yeah, from Reptile Pit. He's the UK distributor for Freedom Breeder because I sent some stickers over to Freedom Breeder and said, "Hey, we need a distributor in the UK for your stuff." And so Mills is.
The FB40s did you get with a rack from ALU?
Yes, yeah. So these are from ALU as FB40Cs, purpose built for those. They're a slightly different shape to their normal V40s or whatever it is they do. But I'm not a fan of those clear white tubs. I like the grey tubs, or I like the smoked ones. It's a personal thing, and I think that even the smoked one gives the snake a little bit more security because they're not looking out through a very white plastic all the time. And with them being nocturnal, it's a little bit nicer for them, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've got the clear ones, and yeah, I made a rookie mistake there. I should have held back and gone for the FBs. But how are they working out for you? How long have you had
them? I've had them since October-ish, maybe a little bit before that last year, and they're fantastic. I've had no issues with shedding. I've had no issues really with eating. I've even got some really small snakes in these big tubs, and they always say, "Oh, don't put a small snake into a big tub because they won't eat." No problem at all. They burrow into the reptochip, and then they come out when they're ready to eat, and they're happy as Larry. So I've got some hatchlings that are in these tubs up here, and they love it. People do tend to keep too big a snake in these tubs, I think, because they're not quite wide enough.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Like, what size would you recommend moving from the FB40s to the FB70s?
So I've got some 1,700 gram females in a couple of bottom ones, and I've got some large males in there. I wouldn't go any bigger than that, really, just because they're so cramped. I've got a picture somewhere that I took of one of my big females. So I've got like that 3.5, 4 kilo female, and put her in there. She wouldn't even. There's not enough room in there for her to even coil. So she would have to lie in a U shape constantly, and they're just not big enough for it, in my opinion. So the FB40s, I think they were described as being twice the width of these. They're not. They're about a third wider. So the ones that I've got haven't got the cups in because Reptile Pit didn't have the ones with the cup, and because this was an experiment, I was just like, if you've got the ones without the cup, I don't really care. So I've got those.
Sam, we're not getting controversial on here.
Yeah.
Well, for your podcast, mate.
Everyone's entitled to an opinion.
Exactly.
I've not got a bad word to say about him. I've had no bad experiences with him, so I don't like to sort of like jump on the bandwagon and that. I want to form my own opinions. I try and stay away. Like, this isn't bad mouthing you, Sam, at all. So please don't take it that way. We'll have a word about it later if you like. I'll sort you out. But in reptile keeping, there are so many clicks, and I don't need that stress. Mm-hmm. I've got that in the fish keeping community. I've got that in the tech world. I've got that with my job. This is a hobby for me, and I'm out here doing what I want to do. All that political stuff, and like, it's just not worth it, because you see people going for blood. And don't get me wrong, there are some complete jackasses, to put it nicely, in this hobby that portray themselves as being like the god of snake keeping, or that they know best, and that really rubs me up the wrong way. When I know that you've only been doing this for 5 minutes or 2 minutes, in the grand scheme of things, don't go out there and profess to be the best. Like, we talked about this earlier, and I said, I'm as a tech person, and I go out to events and do talks and all that sort of stuff. I'm a big advocate of fake it till you make it in the tech industry, because you're dealing with technology. You're not dealing with animals' lives. So don't show up and start trying to preach to people about the way you should be doing things. I'm not into that. And like, you look at a lot of my content, and I'll tell you how I do something, or I'll show something. This is how I do it. But I'm never going to profess that this is how you breed your snakes. This is how you should keep them. No, that's not for me. There are much better and more experienced people than me out there, and I'm not out to be the next Aussie Boyd or Justin or Billy or anybody like that. I'm just out here to be me, enjoy my snakes.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, you have a way you do it. You feel comfortable doing it. So, you're just sharing it with other people.
Yeah.
This is the way I like to do it, not this is the way it should be done. And, there's a few people like that, but,
Yeah, and a lot of them they play up to that persona that they put up on their YouTube channel. And some of them they really sort of pluck on the guitar string, the heartstrings of people, and you think you've been in it 2 minutes. Don't profess to be an expert, and don't come out with the absolute crap that you're talking. Be humble about it.
Sounds like you've been hanging around Facebook pages a bit too long.
Yeah, I do try and stay out of the arguments on Facebook, but there is definitely some hostility out there.
Instagram seems a lot calmer place to be.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. I've had myself in hot water on Twitter and on Facebook and stuff with the tech stuff and the fish keeping. I'm adamant I'm not going to do that with snake keeping. People will probably get upset by me. They won't get my sense of humor. I come across quite dry. I like to have a laugh and a joke, and I've been trying to put that across on my YouTube channel a little bit more, because I keep getting told that my YouTube channel is quite formal, and the issue is that I fall into podcaster mode, so I'm trying to sort of like shake that off a little bit and just be me. So like these sort of things help because I can be a little bit more me. Like the last one, I was prattling around with wigs and stuff, and trying to portray that was about 7 or 8 of us that ran this stuff. But yeah, it's only me.
Right, I see. Okay, cool. So going back to last year was kind of your first proper year breeding.
Yeah.
How many clutches did you end up with last season?
4. I got 4 successful clutches. I had 5 laid. One of them, the female wasn't really. I shouldn't have paired her. I shouldn't have paired her. She hadn't been eating very well for me, and she'd only just started eating. And I was impatient and paired her. I got 2 slugs and 2 eggs, and the veins were very weak in the eggs, and they went green. The outcome in that, and I talk about that in one of my videos on YouTube, and that's out there. So I had 4 healthy clutches of 8 eggs on average, and I think each clutch had 1 or 2 slugs.
Right. Okay.
So it was. Is it the connection all right? Everybody's still here?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. Because your video slowed on mine. Yeah. So I had 1 or 2 slugs in each of the clutches. Whether that was because I didn't feed them right or I didn't pair them enough, I don't know. But a lot of people said that they got a lot of slugs this last year as well, and it was just weird that everybody seemed to get it. It was something in the water. I don't know.
Yeah, possibly. What rack did you have before the one you've got behind you now?
So before this, I had the rubs, and I've got B&Q racks. That's what actually this is all sat on, and they're about 35 quid each, and you can move the stages up and down. I haven't got one out to show you. But they're made from plastic, and they were really good. Yeah. And the 50-litre rubs were just exactly the right size to slide into them, but they had to go on lengthways. They couldn't go this way. They were lengthways, so I couldn't get that many in. They were probably about 2 inches too narrow to pull the rub through the rack. Otherwise, they would have been ideal, because they were just the right width to get the heat mat on and get the tubs on, and it was great. The only issue was all the lids when you came to feeding, having to delid them, and I've got that with my hatchling. So if I quickly move this round, this is my hatchling rack.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I see.
Yeah. So I've got 60 tubs there, but they're all lidded. So it takes me hours to feed everything, because you got to get it out, calm the snake down because you've rattled it, and then you take the lid off and it's like, oh my God, what's going on? And then you feed it and it's happy, and you put it back and it's great.
So you work from home, right?
I do at the moment, yeah. So I run my own software development company. Yeah.
Do you feed everything in one night, or do you break it up?
No. So what I do is that if a clutch came out, when a clutch hatches, I'll feed that clutch all on the same day. and whatever day
Right.
that happens to be on a cycle.
Right.
And the same with the adults and that. If they'll go on a weekly cycle, or they'll go on a 2 weekly cycle of being fed, but it's sort of ad hoc, like when maybe they join my collection, or when I had a couple to feed, and then say that I'm going to feed like five of the females tonight, and I offer food to 4 of them, and one of them doesn't take it. I'll offer that rat to one of the other females. So then that'll throw her out. Yeah. So what I end up with is sometimes everything aligns, and I end up having to feed all 50 at the same time. But if it gets to that, I'll split it up a bit. And I would even go, well, you can actually wait another couple of days, and you'll be fed. It's not going to do you any harm. But it helps with the wastage, because I feed frozen thawed. I've got to get it out and defrost it. That if I get a snake that doesn't eat, and I'm feeding everything all at once, then I'm going to have wastage. So this way, I tend not to get as much wastage. I've got a couple of fussy eaters, but nothing major.
Yeah. So you don't breed your own rodents or anything? No.
No. This room is 8 foot across by, I think, 12 foot deep, so it's not massive. I haven't got anywhere outside to put anything to do rodents. My garden's quite long, but it goes up in layers, and it's full of flower beds.
Right.
So I've got nowhere for it to go up there. I did suggest putting a shed at the top, but the issue is as well that to one side of my house is an alleyway that goes up into a nature reserve, so it's easy access over the fence in and out of the garden. So having something up there, regardless of what's in it, if somebody just broke in to find out what's in there, it could cause me problems. Hundreds of rats escape because like I've got a shed up there, a little one that's got like the lawnmower and stuff, and people have tried to get into that because all the lock is all bent, and they've just not managed to be able to get into it. So it's just not worth it where I am at the moment. It's relatively quiet.
It's a place, not Wales. Yeah, I've heard.
Yeah. It's a little bit hairy in places around here, but I actually live in one of the quieter sort of areas now. I did live in one of the areas where they did the gun running and the drug running and all that from. And the coppers would just drive past because there's nothing they could do.
So what's substrate are you using in your FB40s?
Reptochip. Yeah.
Humidity.
Fine, no problem at all.
See, on mine, I've got the V35s and in the alley rack, and there's a tiny little gap at the top that obviously lets air flow through, which is different to, say, what are the other racks? A lot of people use the
Freedom Breeder ARS. LP racks. LP.
No. Someone help me out.
GBR.
Come on,
let's name all of them.
Simon Ling's racks. The only one you didn't mention.
Yeah, Herp Exotics.
Yes, Herp Exotics. Yeah. Obviously, humidity is quite high in them because they are really tight to the top. I'm just wondering, do the FB40s have that little gap as well?
Yeah, so there is a slight gap there, a couple of mil. But then I think with the V ones, you get the option of putting vents in or not. The Freedom Breeder ones don't come with the option of having the vents. They are just there. Yeah, the vents are there on those. I could see if you didn't have the vents, that it could probably still bring the humidity up quite a bit. But yeah, my humidity is pretty good. Like when I break mine down, I only use sort of 6 liters of water as well. Whereas you watch a lot of the videos, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, I use 8, I use 12," and I'm like, that would be swimming. And like when I come out, and if I spray down all of the tubs, the humidity in here gets that much that this wall here is an outside wall, and it condensates on that, and I come out and there's like a river of water down here. So the humidity does get out of them well enough, but it does hold the humidity. As I say, I've not really had an issue with any sheds in these at all. I had a couple of snakes that they were a pain for shedding.
Yeah.
And when I put them in here, no issue. So we'll take that as it's not their pain for shedding. My husbandry just wasn't up to par in the other rack. Well, blame me for that.
Substandard.
Yeah. Crap in and crap out. It's a motto, isn't it?
What made you choose the alley racks?
So a lot of the options that are available are really expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And for what you get, I think they're overpriced. There are other ones out there that I feel are over-engineered to the point where it's just stuff to break and stuff to snap. And I don't like the look of them. They don't look nice. Whereas I quite like the push fit aluminium. It's quite simple, does the job, and if something goes wrong with it, a 3/4 inch aluminium bar is pretty easy and cost effective to go and pick up.
Yeah.
Not quite as easy as an inch bar in the UK, because everything's by inches rather than 3/4 of an inch bar. But it's all good enough. And I just like the look of them. They're nice and clean. They're easy to clean down. So if I pull these out, you've got just that level of that. Wipe it off, job done. And I like that about it. It was actually Dale from the original Castle Constrictors. He put me onto them because I was looking at a few others, and he went, "Go and have a look at these." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, give them a go." And the ridiculous thing is, like, I've got 40 tubs in that. They were cheaper to buy 40 tubs constructed and delivered from Belgium into the UK than it was to buy the same product in the UK. And I know that, like, cost of living, and we do get screwed over in the UK for materials. It's like the Conti board or the chipboard that I've used to produce these racks. It cost me 300 quid a rack to get that custom cut and finished. You know, it's absolutely ridiculous. You go to IKEA and they've got that wood in massive amounts. You know, everything that they build, and it's cheap, but it's because it's coming in from other countries where they don't rip us off for it. So yeah, it was nice and cheap. They looked strong and sturdy. They were nice and light, and it's a shame they didn't come in black. I quite like black, as you may have noticed from the other rack. It would have looked nice together. But hey, you can't have everything, can you? And the fact that we did Freedom Breeder as well. So I was like, yeah, sorted. You've sold it.
That was pretty cool. The reason I went for them is because you could buy per section.
Sure.
And as your collection grew bigger, you could just more, add on. That was a big pull for me. And like you say, they were cheaper than most. They're kind of next level racks.
Yeah.
Compared to some. They've got the professional look, and that's what I liked about them.
Yeah. There's not a massive waiting time either, because Jeffy, I noticed said this week or last week that Freedom Breeder have got a 20-week waiting list on there, and it's like flipping heck. So if they're 20 weeks in the States, it's probably about 4 years in the UK. Never going to get those bad boys over here. So I'm really impatient. Amazon Prime was made for me. And I buy so much crap through there. They've actually opened a new Amazon depot just down the road, and I'm not sure, I've got nothing to substantiate this, but I think I've actually paid for them to build that with the amount of stuff that I order. So waiting 2 weeks for these to arrive killed me. Absolutely killed me.
Oh, you got 2 weeks? I had to wait 3 for mine. So
yeah. It was 2 or 3. They came quickly. They went together really quick. I managed to have them delivered on a pallet, get them constructed, dismantle the pallet, get rid of everything before the wife came home and found out that I bought them. And I had them for about 5 months before she knew they were in here. So that sort of dispersed any arguments because of it.
Yeah. I wish I could get away with that.
Yeah, it was a Mission Impossible. There was a theme tune going on in the background as I was quickly putting them all together and dismantling the racks. Because she goes, "Oh, I'm going to pop out," and I was like, "Okay, bye." And literally, as she left, they arrived.
Wow. It was meant to be. Meant to be.
Yeah. It's just a shame that things are as they are. We got Gavin in the house as well.
Royalty in the house.
Yeah.
And
he's probably like, who the hell's this guy?
Yeah. And what's his name?
Yeah. I found on the keyboard, yeah.
So you had 4 clutches last year, and you're going for how many this year? Hopefully, if all your
if all my females go, I'm looking at about 2,500. No, I've got I think 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 10.
And they're all going to lay within a week.
Yeah, I think over the course of about 3 weeks, they're all going to lay. Because I'm an absolute moron.
How big is your incubator?
My incubator is plenty big enough. Because it's go hard or go home. Yeah. So it's actually quite ample that Gav's joined now. I followed some of his advice, and I built that incubator down there.
Okay.
So, whether that shows up well enough. I've got 12 Systema tubs in there. So they're the 9.67 litre Systema tubs. So it can take 12 tubs. So I've still got 2 if I fancy doing something else a little bit later. My biggest female last year, she reabsorbed for me. She had 10 follicles at least when I palpated her.
You can actually palpate them. Yeah. You can actually do that.
Yeah. I've had a good go at that, and you can feel the marbles in there. It's finding the right pressure and doing it at the right time. Because if you do it too early, you're going to end up with something on your leg. And I've done that once. So it's sort of like wait to go past that bit that gurgles, and then go right now you can sort of feel them down there. So I've given that a go, and like she had 10, so I'm hoping for about 10 or so out of her because she's pretty big this year. And then if I don't get the slugs in some of the clutches, I think I'll average probably 9s as the clutch size. So so 10 if we average 8, let's say give or take a couple of slugs, that we average 8, even at 10 snakes, that's 80 tubs, 80 hatchling tubs. And my maths isn't that good, but that does not go into 60 tubs.
No.
So I've got to work some magic, because as I quickly whip the camera around, there's not a lot of room out here, and the wife, as I've said, is scared of them, so I can't have them in the house.
You'll have to just take a picture of an egg and put it on Morph Market.
Yeah, well, what I thought about was maybe raffling off the eggs and go, right, £100, you can buy an egg. When it gets ready to pip, I'll give you a call. You come and pick it up. And you can take it. I do not condone that in no way, shape, or form.
We are only joking.
So what I'll probably do is with this rack that I'm having a go at building, I may have a go at building some hatchling like levels to it, because I don't need all of the adults to start with, so I might as well throw a few more on, stick some hatchling tubs in there, and go from there. Or I'll just buy another one of these stacks, because they come in 30s. They've got 30 4-litre tubs directly from really useful boxes. And I've put I ran heat cable in them last year, and that worked fine. But I found that the heat cable failed on me. So but after I'd hatched everything, I just left it on, and it wasn't heating up anymore. So I probably damaged it, to be honest, with rolling the rack in and out. And I'm quite heavy-handed. So I've actually put heat mats up, or heat strips up the back of the rack now. So that heats everything from top to bottom, ideal. So that I may get another one of those, but we'll see. It depends how much my enthusiasm for a DIY project takes off. And I've been boring Dale at Castle Constrictors all day, going, "Oh look, I found this bit, and this bit will make it cheaper, and I reckon I can make him out of this pieces."
Oh, God.
Yeah, so I like a bit of a plan, and I don't do downtime, so I'm on the go constantly.
Yeah. What's your most anticipated girl to go?
So I've got my Pastolenchi, possible Orange Dream, possible something else, going to what I believe to be a Firefly clone. Firefly girl. Yeah. The clutch that they produced last year, I've had to keep back all of the hatchlings because there's something going on with it. It could be nothing, but 4 of them have got the same pattern in the same place and the same oddities to the coloration. And I've shown this to a few people, and they think, yeah, there's a few recessives that can throw not ringers, but markers like that. And it could be just coincidence. So I've redone that pairing this year to see if it happens again.
Yep.
And I've got a Superfly Enchi possible orange dream and a Firefly Enchi possible orange dream. The color is just insane. I get her out here, it'll look a bit of a creamy color, but my photo, she's bright yellow. If you look at her in person, she's bright yellow and orange. Well, both of them. I've got a male and a female. The other ones have got like donut shapes, and the colors are really distinctive. So it's like, is it going to be something? So I need to keep on. I've kept all of those back after Castle Constrictor said there's something going on with that fire girl. She's not a normal fire, because I had just a fire, but yeah, she's changed color from a normal fire as well. So I want to see, does that happen again? If it happens again, then there's possibly something going on there. And I don't, because these came from somebody else, I can't guarantee what the genes are in the snake. Right. So that's an interesting thing. So it could be, as I say, it could be 2 years of absolutely nothing, which is probably the way. You know, they could be het for normal and classic. You know, who knows? Yeah. The other two more interesting ones is the butter pinstripe het clown female to the Firefly clown. So that'd be my first clown clutch. So I should have some more visual clowns out of that. And then I've also put the lemon pastel het ultramel to my HRA female. So there's going to be some possible het ultramels in there. So that will sort of carry on and set me up hopefully for projects going forwards, because I've got the JKR line. I think is actually the Noah line of ultramel. I think it's the same one that Gav works with. So it's really, really nice. And then that'll eventually bring me into the Ultramel Clown project. That was
it's just progressing your Ultramel Clown to the point
where you can
put them together.
And as I said earlier, you know, I want to build my own ingredients to get to those. I don't want to just go out and throw the money at it and go, you know, let's go and drop $2,000 on one of them and $2,000 on one of them so I can make that. Where's the fun in that? Just so I can post a picture to Instagram and go, look what I've bought, which is essentially what you've done. You've not put any real effort into it, because any fool can take 2 snakes, slap them together and go, ta-da!
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but there's the other side of it where you've got the ingredients and you keep putting them together and keep missing. Eventually you go,
it's frustrating, but the more you miss, when you finally get it, the elation when you finally hit it, come on, that's got to be a high worth.
Personally, I'd be like, oh fuck it, I'm going to buy it. I think
just not dedicated to the cause enough. I think
Miguel from AEP did that with the Pompeii. I think I was watching a video today. It's just like he missed it on life and just went and bought it.
But I think anybody could just go out and throw money at it all. And a few people have said that to me, because I've come from complete obscurity to relative obscurity in quite a small time. And I've got Instagram and I've got a website and I'm doing bits on YouTube. And then they see that I've got a proper rack. And I've had a little bit of negativity for that, of like, who are you? And I'm like, my day job just enables me to spend that money on these things. I used to be a graphic designer. I'm a software developer by day. So it's only natural for me to have merchandise and a website, because it's what I do. And I do these sort of things in other hobbies as well. I've helped people because I play Airsoft, I've helped people set up podcasts in Airsoft. I've helped them set up YouTube channels and Instagram and all that for fish keeping and tech. And so it's just a natural progression for me. It's not that, as I said earlier, I'm not coming out to try and be the next JKR or anything. I'm doing it because I can and I want to. But in the same vein, yeah, I could afford to go out and buy some of these high-end combos and that, but I'm just not interested in it. I want to make my own. I want to take the ingredients and put them together. And it's nice then that I can sit and go, I've put the effort in, along with obviously the parent snakes and all that, to build my collection to what it is. And I add the little bits of ingredients as I go along, because otherwise I'd get bored too easy. I'm one of these people that, you might buy a computer game and you play the multiplayer online, you play it loads, and I'll be playing the single player in between. As soon as I complete the single player, I stop playing the multiplayer because I've beaten the game. I've won. The interest's gone for me. I don't play anymore. So I like to keep it interesting and keep it moving along. So
talking about ingredients, like what do you want to add to your collection next? What you haven't got to sort of
so there's a few genes that I'd like to get in here. Chocolate I'd like to have. I was quite tempted by Sunset, but Scott's Royals, who's just down the road from me, he's just bought 2 Het Sunsets. So what he's done there is saved me quite a lot of money because he's doing it. I'm not going to bother. I'm not going to bother chasing that one for now. I'll get some from him later on. I really wanted Monsoon, but the more that I'm seeing Monsoon, the more I'm wondering, is it going to be the next Pinstripe? Because it's so overpowering in pretty much every combo. Every combo it's just a different colorway of Monsoon that I've seen. Right. So I really like it, and if I had the cash, I'd probably buy one. And if they were available that freely in the UK, I would buy one. But that was like my go-to for a while. And as I've seen more people produce more of them, I'm like, but they all look the same. They all look the same. So that's gone a little bit for me.
Yeah, I see. So just completely changing the subject quickly, something that was from earlier. With your snakes, what sort of records do you keep? Like, obviously feeding and like what else? Because so what am I trying to say? So I bought Reptile Scan about 9 months ago. When I first bought it, I was doing everything, sheds, feeding, poo, and then further I've got from using it, like literally all I do is feeds and female sheds. That's it.
Yeah. So I started out using Reptile Scan. I tried a few others and they were terrible. Reptile Scan is the best of, and take this as it's meant. I'm a software developer that used to be a graphic designer. I understand UI. I understand user experience and what makes an app good. And Reptile Scan functionally does what you need, but I find it very clunky. I find it very user unfriendly. And because of that, I stopped using it. And for a tech person, this is so backwards. I keep everything on paper at the moment.
Right.
But I have been developing a system to log all of this, because as a developer, it's like, well, if there's an issue, go and build something. So I've been working on a product to build it, and it was supposed to have been released start of the year, sort of February, March time. But it got delayed, and then COVID came in, and I'm not afraid to admit that I hit rock bottom. I can't even say it. I hit rock bottom on a mental stage. I say I don't do downtime, and I ran myself into the ground. And I've done it loads of times. I'm an idiot for repeating it or repeat doing it. And so the product didn't go out, and I'm now back on. My head's back on my shoulders, and I'm now working on it again. There is a recent newcomer to the game who has actually implemented pretty much all of the features in the way that I wanted to, or have implemented them, or will be implementing them, which is interesting. But I'm still going to continue with my product, because even if it doesn't become a proper product and people don't buy into it, I'm going to use it because it works for me. So what I do at the moment, and I record on paper, I've got like feeding records that I will go through. I'll come out and I'll look to see who needs feeding today, write it down on that, what they need. I'll use that when I go to the freezer, get all the rats. I will mark on there whether they've eaten or refused, maybe make some notes that they refused because they were deep in shed or they were just interested in breeding and stuff like that. So I'll keep that, and I'm retrospectively putting that into my system. I'm also, when I've got hatchlings, I keep more extensive records. So now these are really dog-eared, so I do apologize, but like whether that actually comes up, but you can see all the information about the pairings, any notes on the eggs that came out. I then sort of note down whether it was a strike, a refusal, an assist, a force feed, the weight of the snake, the date, whether it's shed out, when it went into shed, all that sort of thing. So I put all that down.
Do you send them out when you sell a snake as well? Do they go with the snake?
Yeah. So what? When you buy a snake, I will offer you that. I'll say, I'll keep the record, but I'll send you a picture of it. Okay. So you've got that record. And I also send out these little cards. So if you were to spend certain amounts, that'll give you a bit of a discount next time. So you got a snake card, and then on this side, you probably can't see it on here; it won't focus. But you get the morph that it is, the sex that it is, it's the sire and the dam, when it hatched, the clutch reference, how much you paid for it, whether it was sent by courier, whether you collected, whether I delivered it to you. So that if you have an issue with the snake 2 months, 6 months, 4 years down the line, you've got that somewhere in a drawer to pick it out and go, oh, right.
Yeah.
James, I bought a snake from you. The code is 2020-0204. And I've got these issues. Can you help me? And I'm like, yeah, just bear with me. I'll have a look. What morph did you say it was? Okay, show me some pictures. I can corroborate that with my records and go, right, okay, yeah, that's fine. And I then know, like, at least while the snake was with me, what it was like. Maybe it help you down the road, because I did it even in the fish hobby. Is that if you bought stuff for me, it wasn't buy, get out the door, see you later, thanks for your money. I'm there for anything you need. Like, I had a guy pick up a snake not too long ago. Definitely wasn't today because of COVID and lockdown. And I'd said to him, look, you've already got 2 other snakes. He had a royal and he had a corn snake. And like, if you got any, I don't know anything about corn snakes. They're like limp noodles. That's pretty much a colubrid. That's as far as my knowledge goes on them. I'm like, but if you got issues with your other royal, I said, I don't profess to know everything, but I'll probably know somebody who does know, so I'll help you out. It's an all round sort of service thing. Trying to build that community a little bit more and be a little bit more helpful, because the community can be quite toxic, I think, on the whole.
Yeah. Let's have a look at the other side of that card again quickly.
Yeah, sure. The black side, was it? That side?
Yeah, the black side.
Yeah, it is out of order. If you can actually see that, the prices are out of order.
Okay.
But on the back, it's got like discounts for next time. So if you spend over like 500 quid, you get a discount. Between 150, 250, you get another one, and all that sort of thing. Just to keep people's interest. I haven't got that many really expensive snakes, so no one's actually got any discount yet. The ones that I have got that do meet those criteria.
Yeah. You need to sell the card, obviously.
Yeah. So I think it just gives that little bit back to people as well, and that they feel they can come back as well.
Go on. So you were talking about snakes there. You've never kept. Have you ever kept anything else apart from ball pythons?
I've kept Pac-Man frogs. I've kept African dwarf clawed frogs, and I've bred those. Okay. I had a fire skink, which was advised to me by a very reputable reptile shop.
Right.
And told it will be great for the kids. And I was like, are you sure? I'd looked at, I think it was an ocellated collared lizard, an American lizard. And I'd read that they were really okay for kids. They were quite placid. I didn't want to go for a bearded dragon because they're the guppies of the lizard world. Everybody's got them. I wanted something a little bit different. And this reptile shop said, "Oh yeah, get a fire skink." And I was like, "Sure, I've heard they're a bit nippy." Anyway, she gets this one out, and I got the two boys with me. I got twin boys that were like 4 at the time. One's going one way, one's going the other way, and I'm like, "Well, I can't hold it." So yeah, looks okay. And she put gloves on, and I didn't think anything of it. Anyway, I got it home, got it out of the box, put it in the Viv, and it bites me straight away. And I was like, "Oh, it's a lizard." You know, it'll happen. It's stressed. It's come a long way in the car. Yeah. It's scared out of its little brain. Let's put it in there. I spent 6 months, well, probably nearly 8 months, trying to work with it, trying to calm it down. The thing thought it was an alligator. It would lunge at you, bite, and it would death roll. And it was just ripping chunks out of me, left, right, and centre. And the wife was like, "You are not letting that near the kids."
Yeah. Like, how long did that stick around for then?
I tried for about 6 to 8 months to calm that down, and it didn't work. So I moved that on, unfortunately, because of it just wasn't good for the kids, and the kids really liked the snakes. Yeah. And when they were out here, they were always like, "Can we get the lizard out? Can we get the lizard out?" And I'm like, one, it's a skink, not a lizard. And two, no, because I sort of built up to that because I started breeding Morio worms and mealworms. We'd done breeding crickets with the kids and all that sort of stuff. So it was like bringing them up so they wouldn't have a fear of anything like that. Yeah. And I was like, right, well, we'll get a lizard and then I'll get some food and you can actually breed the food and make their food for them and all that sort of stuff. But that didn't really transpire. I would like to keep something like Uromastyx. But then I was looking into those and you need some quite big vivariums for them because they can get up to about 2 foot. And I barely got enough room out here for the snakes.
Yeah.
So that's not going to happen, unfortunately. I'd like a tiger as well, but yeah, I've got there's a wish list of all sorts of things, but in this current setup, I just haven't got the room to dedicate to them.
Yeah, I'd like something. So obviously the ball pythons are all away all the time. I'd like something out on show, but I just don't know what yet. I was considering a white-lipped python, but I've heard they like to be away.
Right.
You can have them in a Viv, but you won't see them a lot. Yeah, they like to be in the bushes and whatnot and stuff like that. So I really don't know what I'm going to get. But no, just talking about breeding food and whatnot, I wanted to breed the duper roaches.
Yeah.
Missus weren't having any of that. Yeah. Shut that down straight away. It's like, fucking roaches.
Some information for you about those. Bit of a long-winded story, but in the fish keeping, I used to feed bloodworm.
Right. Yeah.
So I did it for years. Now I've kept and bred fish for 20 odd years. I started developing this itch after I'd fed it, and a few months later, it turned into a rash, and then that rash turned into like hives and then swelling, and then I touched my face swelled up. This is over like months and months, and it got worse and worse, to the point that even if I touched something that had been anywhere near the bloodworm, I would have an allergic reaction to it. And it turns out that it, like back when it started happening, nobody had heard of it. Everyone was like, "What are you on about?" And then I spoke to a few people who had been asthmatic in a previous life, like they'd been reincarnated, that they'd been in previous years, because asthma can come in like 7-year cycles. And that's what happened to mine. Mine was 7-year cycles. I got to like 14 and then it disappeared. But there's a link between this allergy to the hemoglobin in bloodworm and asthma. So I developed this, and I found out that speaking to other people, that I know a couple of people that feed it and can't enter the room for 24 hours, even if it's in the air. Like if I fed it to a fish tank and put my bare hand into the fish tank the next day, my hand would itch and swell because the blood's in the water. And they were saying, it actually swells my vocal cords and my airway. And I was like, oh, right. And then since that, we've done some looking into it with a friend of mine. And the same reaction that you get from the bloodworm, you get it from cockroaches. And
Right.
the tenuous link there is that I actually was going to get cockroaches for the kids because they wanted to have a go at breeding them.
Yeah.
And there's an allergic reaction there. So people need to be careful that they're not allergic to them. And I know someone that actually keeps them and breeds them and is allergic to them, but keeps pufferfish, so has to feed them.
Okay. They're feeding them pufferfish.
Yeah. Feeds them cockroaches. So they need to keep their teeth like worn down. So some of them you can feed cockles and mussels with the shells on, but you'll feed them cockroaches because they're hard. That also wears down their beaks as well.
Oh well.
Yeah, fully useless information.
Yeah. I was gonna say.
Yeah. So anybody thinking about that, be careful. You're not allergic to it.
Yeah. Wear gloves or something.
Yeah. Respirator and gloves, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. There's plenty of masks floating around nowadays, so don't go shy of them. Yeah. So when you first got your ball pythons again, after the fish, was there anyone in particular you actually looked up to in the industry, like followed religiously?
There was that Twisted Royals guy, but I've not really
I went about then. Yeah. Don't worry.
So
millennial.
Yeah, me as well. Although on some of those charts, I am millennial, but I'm definitely not. I'm not entitled. I'm not a snowflake.
Just your beard to snowflake, sort of going snowflake colour. Right.
Oh, you had to bring the beard up, didn't you? Yeah. People comment on it. They go, "I watched the video and it was black, and now I'm looking at it, it's ginger and white." And like, yeah, I dye it. I've no bones about it. I dye it because I'm in full denial that I'm getting old.
Got more colours than Noel Edmonds going on there, mate.
People call it my mood beard because it changes colour. But yeah, back to who did I look up to? Is that obviously I'd had Kevin McCurley's books, and so I looked at the nerd stuff a lot. Justin and Billy, I watched a lot of their things. There are a few people that every newbie goes and watches, and then when you find out a little bit more information, you stop watching them because you find out they're complete clowns and they're actually detriment to the hobby. Yeah. So it's quite interesting.
That conversation there.
There's a couple of people out there that I stopped watching. I watched Gavin's videos quite a lot as well, just to see what he was doing. And yeah, I think that was about it. Obviously, there's Brian Barczyk as well. I watched his stuff and Snake Bites TV and stuff. But they weren't primarily about the Royals or the ball pythons. So I watched a lot of those, and sort of that kept my interest and sort of pushed me on to move on to bigger and better things. And it seems
it took me ages to get around to Brian's videos actually. It was only recently I actually subscribed. I don't know. Yeah. I think what I saw, he got bashed quite a lot for stay with his tubs and stuff like that.
Yeah, I knew about Brian before I kept reptiles because of my dealings in the fish hobby and things like that. That he is one of the forefathers of ball python keeping.
Yes.
I don't think anybody can argue with that. And we're all learning. We all make mistakes. Do I agree with everybody's practices? No. But to be fair, who cares? You don't have to agree with everything everybody does. And for what the guys have done, like Brian, for the hobby, all these people up in their ivory towers going, "Oh, he does this wrong, he does that wrong." If it wasn't for people like him, you would not have this hobby that you have now. So sit down, shut up. Until you're in that position with that authority to criticize him, yeah, fine. If you have that expertise about some of his ill practices that he had, that he hasn't corrected, fine. But we all do bad things at some point. And the thing is that we're learning from it. And Brian says on his videos, he did stuff wrong and he probably still does stuff wrong, but the size of his facility it's not an overnight change. You can't just go and change those thousands and thousands of tubs he's got and go, oh yeah, there's this. It's financially unviable. And that might be a hard way to look at it, because they're like, well, it's the lives of the animal. Most of his animals are doing all right. There are some that are questionable, but they're doing all right. And he has admitted he is upgrading. So that's all you can ask for. I don't like getting on and bashing people for ill practice. It's more so if they acknowledge that they've done something wrong, or they're not the expert in it. But I don't think anybody's the complete expert. We're all learning, and it's all a journey. There are some people out there that are pushing misinformation, and that really, really gets to me. And I think we touched on it a little bit earlier. People like myself, and from what you said, like yourselves, turning up on the scene, going, "Look at us," and then proclaiming to be experts. That really, and excuse my French, fucks me off.
Yeah.
I would have to get involved and tell you to do one at that point. But yeah, I don't think he deserves as much slander as he gets. But I think we all invite it at some point.
Yeah, like you say, he is one of the people. This hobby wouldn't be what it is without him. And speaking about that, he dropped a video in the last couple of days, I think. Where he talked about the history of ball pythons. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. It's really interesting. It's really good, really good. Hang on. Okay. So we've done about an hour and 40 minutes, which I'm over the moon with. Yeah, had a few people watching throughout, which is we've stayed in double figures, which I'm well chuffed about. So that's solely down to me. I don't want to miss something. Whoever I have next week has got a lot to live up to.
Yeah.
So I've got one more question for you, which I'm going to call the most important question in the world.
Okay.
Ready for it?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Let's go.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Let's go.
Okay, shut up, and I'll tell you. All right.
All right. Sorry.
Big scissors or little scissors?
Medium scissors. I've got big scissors. I've got little scissors. I actually use in between because I'm a wuss and won't go for the big ones. Yeah.
Sit on the fence. Why not?
Yeah, I can get my scissor collection out if you like, but I've got, and they all match and everything. Yeah. All right, let's do it. Let's show it.
Fucking first person, sit on the fence. Unbelievable. Talk shit about it now because he ain't got his headphones on.
So we know that ball python eggs are really quite hard and really take a toll on scissors. So you've got to have a lot. So we start off with the nice little scissors, nice surgical sharp ones.
They're what you're calling little.
Yeah. They're only little because they're not that big.
Right. Okay.
We then got these ones, so they're a little bit bigger, a little bit pointier.
Right. Yeah.
And this is where they start all looking the same. Slightly bigger again.
Okay.
Slightly bigger again. And then I'll go with these ones as the big ones.
Okay. So which ones do you use? Which ones do you go for?
Yeah. So these ones.
These ones. Okay.
Yeah. I think last year these were the ones that I had, and I used these mainly. And I used these ones when I just wanted to do a few little smaller snips, whereas that's quite nice for getting a larger slice out. Because obviously, because I have a scissor collection, it's Billy's method that I followed for cutting the eggs.
Okay. Right, so you go right across the top.
So I peel it all back, push the snake down, snip across the top, and go, oh, what's that? I don't know what I'm talking about, so I've got no idea. Next up, it's definitely a snake.
I done a first egg cutting video on YouTube last year, and as I was doing it, I was like, so excited to get them open. And once I started cutting them open, I was just like, I don't actually know what the fuck these are. And like,
yeah.
well, from watching that video and then going back like a few weeks when they're actually out there in a shed out, I'm like, I got this so wrong.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm either gonna have to like take it down or re-edit the video, or like just put like text on the video. So in the end, I've done like a update in the end, and it just sounds completely wrong. Owned up. Yeah. So like, my 9 people who actually watch my videos knew that, you know.
So I had that with the Yellow Belly pinstripe to Spectre female clutch. So that's the clutch that gave me 6 pinstripe combos out of 8 eggs. And I opened them and I was like, well, that's got pinstripe in it. That's either Spectre or Yellow Belly. That's Spectre or Yellow Belly. Well, that's a super stripe, maybe super stripe pinstripe. All of these others, I've got no idea. And then when they came out, I always do, there's the egg cutting. Here's where they're out of the egg. And then I'll do another video of them updated.
Right,
I did the video of them out of the egg and went, I still have no idea what these are. I then recorded the update video 5 times of going over different weeks, over months apart, going, this is a pinstripe Yellow Belly, this one's a pinstripe Spectre, this is a pinstripe Yellow Belly, this is just a pinstripe. And then halfway through, I'd go, was that the right order? What I've written on the tub, is that the right one? Is it the right snake in the right tub? I don't know. I've got no idea. And I had to wait until, I don't know, I think it must have been January this year that I was confident enough to go, 1 is a Yellow Belly Spectre. 1 is a pinstripe. All the others were pinstripe Yellow Belly.
Really?
Yeah. And then comparing pictures I found online, it was quite obvious once he properly coloured up that the super stripe was pinstripe as well, which was a shame because I would have liked to keep the pinstripe. Although I've seen another super stripe and the colours are completely different. So the one I've seen is like a creamy colour, and he's like proper yellow. But whether that's going to fade with age, I don't know. So that's something I've got to find out about, because I openly admit I'm new. You know, I've been in it for a couple of years now after being away for 12 years. I think when I first kept my het pieballs, or supposedly het pieballs, I think pied and spider were like probably the only big gene that anybody was talking about. Everything else back then was just like starting to make its way in. But you know, you even then you had to have silly money to buy pied and spider. I think pastel was probably even still a couple of grand back then.
So what did you pay for your hets when you first got?
Absolutely nothing at all.
So you got given them?
No, I swapped some fish. They wanted some fish, so they gave me the snakes with the vivs, and yeah, they'd apparently kept other snakes and stuff. And I look back on what they say now and go, you were talking absolute crap and didn't know what you were talking about, because like they had a red racer or something like that. I remember them telling me, and it had come up, and it's that old urban legend of it was sizing up the baby, and we decided to get rid of all our snakes. And I was like, right, either you didn't know what you were talking about, or you had a right laugh at me going, really? Oh my God. Because back then I had no clue. I'd read the books and sort of understood the keeping and all that side of it, but their actual, what they did when you had them, and that, you know, they're sizing up the woman in bed and all that sort of rubbish to eat them. Yeah, exactly
the same, mate. I look back when I picked up my first Royal, I found it on, I think it maybe Gumtree or something like that.
Yeah.
I found it. I went to pick it up, and the guy was like, "Yeah, it's a firefly," and I didn't know any better.
It looks like a snake to me.
But basically, I had a corn snake.
Yeah,
that did it for me. It was just, you couldn't hold it because it would shoot every direction. Yeah. I was just like, I want something bigger actually. So I went and got this, which turned out to be just a straight up pastel, which I got told was a firefly. I'm thinking, I wish I'd kept that guy's number just to be like, what are you on about? So some people back, I can't even remember when I think that was 2015 maybe. Like it was a baby when I got it. Like I did it the right way. I did it the right way. I got a male first.
Right. Yeah, sure.
But I wasn't even thinking about breeding or anything.
No. I was the same with the Mojaves. Even though I had a male and female, I didn't really have intentions of breeding anything.
Yeah. My breeding started accidentally as well. Right. Just put them together once, and I got scared. I didn't see a pair or a lock or anything.
Yeah.
And I was scared. And I didn't pair them again because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, well, and then it got stopped doing that.
But I opened the drawer one day and she's sitting on eggs. I'm like, oh my god! But it made me learn fast.
Yeah,
I'll avoid it, but stick me in the deep end. I've got to do something about
it. Best way to go. Yeah. That's why I went from so few to so many. Is that it's all, as I say, all or nothing. And I'm like that with everything. I did that with fish keeping. I do it with my airsoft. I've done it with the IT stuff. If you're going to do something, it's worth doing. It's worth putting your whole heart and passion into it. Because if you haven't got that passion, what's the point in keeping so many snakes? Because there's no way that I get to fully enjoy these snakes on their own, take them out and keep them as a pet. You've got to have that passion for it as a whole. If you do want just something nice to get out of a tank or a tub or whatever, just get one. Don't get 5 or 6 or 10, because it takes away from that a little bit. You've got to have a real passion to come out here and pick up poo and urates and change water and change the substrate. Like I said before, fish keeping is a lot harder on your time. It takes a lot longer, and these are a lot less work, but it's still work. I've only got like 50 odd snakes, but you look at some of the bigger breeders that got thousands, and yes, they've got staff, but they've got full-time staff that are just going down racks, back to the start, down the rack, back to the start, back down the rack, and they're just cleaning and rewatering and cleaning and rewatering. And I would like to get to the point where I've got a lot of snakes, but I don't know if I'd ever want to get to the point where my hobby turned back into just cleaning poo.
Yeah, I suppose you, by the looks of things, you haven't got much room to actually expand anyway.
Don't challenge me. Here there isn't enough room. I can get another 20 FP70s in here, and if I take all the rubbish off the top of my racks, if that'll sort of focus in, there's enough room to go another 3 there, but I'm pretty much limited in the space because I also use it as a little workshop. So down by the incubator, I've got a workbench, and I've got a 6-foot rack with my airsoft gear and stuff. I've already moved a lot of stuff out into the front of the garage bit, and I haven't got anywhere to extend. So when I move, it's either going to be a double garage or it's going to have to be something else. I did almost start renting a place a couple of weeks ago, but when I can't, this place was just ideal. It had places for me to put my businesses. It had a room that was big enough for me to sort out and become a snake room, so I could put my snakes in there, and room to sublet to some of my friends who got their own businesses as well. And I was like, fantastic. So went to make an inquiry. Oh, it's already gone. And they're like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Bang goes that drain.
Yeah, and it was right on the main road. It had a big glass frontage on it. It had a massive room that would have looked really, really nice. And I was like, oh, well, and it was cheap. It needed some work doing to it, but it was nice and cheap. Monthly rates were great. I could have paid for all the rates on it just off of my day job. So it wouldn't have been that much of a burden.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to have to come to that. But when it gets to that stage, it's going to have to be when the kids are a little bit older. So I come out here and I record my rubbish for YouTube. I keep getting told off for calling my stuff rubbish, and I shouldn't do it. My YouTube videos, I look after them. I do all my cleaning that of an evening. So the wife goes in on nights. I've got a little doorbell that I put on the side in the kids' bedroom, and I go, if you need me, ring that. It rings out here. I can go in. I come out here, stick the music on, I've got a TV out here and stuff, and just get on with it. If I moved it to a facility, I wouldn't have that. And my garden's not big enough to put a shed in it to convert that. So this will do for now. But
I thought you were going to say you needed to wait for the kids to get a bit older so they could clean the shit.
Yeah, there is that. but I'm also a little bit of a control freak, and I'd be like, no, you're not doing it.
Yeah. That's not right. I mean, how many ways is there in shit?
Yeah. You didn't pick it up and put it in the bin fast enough. It needs to be quicker. So,
you left skiddies on the side. Come on.
I'm just not looking forward to the first time one of them gets tagged, because the wife will have a field day.
Yeah. I can imagine. Yeah. But anyway, man.
Yeah, no worries.
We've taken enough of your time. I appreciate you jumping on. First ever Snake Room. Yeah, man. We'll have to get you back on probably.
Yeah, get me on in another month or so, and we'll see how many tubs I've got out here now.
Yeah. Get you in a month's time, and 6 months' time, we'll check out your new facility.
Yeah. Here's my 6th floor facility with 40 staff. And, no, I don't think I'll ever push it to that. But yeah, it's been good coming on and talking snakes. I don't tend to push myself out onto stuff like this a lot, because I'm not pushing myself out here as a source of education, and this is how you do stuff, as I said earlier. So it's nice just to come on and talk about what I'm doing and why I'm doing what I'm doing, and share my passion with others that have got a similar view.
Okay, appreciate that, man. Appreciate it.
No worries.
Wicked. All right. Well, I'll drop you a message or something a bit later on. And,
sure.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Take it easy. And thanks everyone for tuning in.
Put my big face on now. All right. Cheers.
All right,
cut him off a bit too soon there. But thank you, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Like I said, we've had double figures the whole way through, which, past my expectations. If you're still around, please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss another Snake Room podcast. And with the podcast side of things, it will become a podcast, but I'm not in a rush to actually get it live and stuff like that. It will take a few weeks, and it won't be like a set day or anything. It will just be like, when I do it. But obviously the video will stay on YouTube. So yeah, please subscribe give us a follow on Instagram. There is Facebook pages, but I don't really look at Facebook. It's probably best. Anyway, guys, appreciate you tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you very much.